Ooh, what's up, meatbags? We are live. So people have probably been wondering, Miko's wrapping up. What are we going to do now? What are you going to talk about now? What's left to talk about now? I've been out running up my credit card on Disneyland trips. And see, Disneyland's not just for kids, and that's what this podcast is going to turn into, this whole channel, basically. Yeah, I have kids. Yeah, I've gone to Disneyland with my kids, but reality is it's not as fun with kids. I typically go 10 to 12 times a year just by myself, and I hire sitters for the kids. It's like, it's like seasonal stuff. I get hotels and stuff, but it's more fun when you're by yourself, and that's really for a lot of reasons. You get, the obvious ones. You don't gotta stop all the time. You don't gotta walk as slow. You don't have little kid legs behind you. You don't gotta take them to the bathroom, get them something to eat. You really can get closer to the characters and the rides and the experiences of the parks when you're just all by yourself. And that's what this is about. It's about celebrating that. It's been too long. It's been too long that we've been in the closet of Disney fandom, and it's just time to come out. Evil Knievel, you're in the chat. See if I can drop the link. I forgot how to drop the link. Invite a guest. Here we go. Copy to clipboard. And then, but how do I send it? It's been a while since I've been on stream, let alone on my phone. Hold on, I'm gonna open YouTube and drop it. Hold on. I talk to you about it. I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite rides? Or if you haven't been there, what do you potentially see as being your favorite rides when you do go? Because I think it's really like a pilgrimage thing. All adults should go there. Everyone's invited. Anybody want to click on the StreamYard link? We're just going to do maybe 30, 45 minutes today. What's the deal with Darius Truxton? He's a Sacha Baron Cohen creation. Yes. Well, it's like the Disney version of Sacha Baron Cohen. Like, they tried to hire him, but he's a little too intense, so they made like a Disney-fied version of it. And that's Darius. Because he plays the Aladdin game. So, best rides at Disneyland to go on without kids, because you should be going without your kids. It's much more enjoyable, like I'm telling you. What you want to do is you got single rider. So you could bring other adults with you, get high and shit, girls you're fucking, whatever. But you want to do the single rider lines. And it's like, hey, Mitty, it's like when you do the single riders, you don't have to really wait in line. There's no line. So, let's see. Okay. I forgot how to see if there's people backstage. Will it just tell me? Broadcast info. This isn't going to be a good show. I'm warning you guys. This is my extraSanderson moment here. But without anything to say. Too much coffee is what I mean. Them beans. As long as I don't accidentally turn on the cam. Well, if I do, it's fine. I just look like Dave from Game Sack. Now, in the chat, favorite Disneyland rides. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. The new one's coming is, so you've got Mickey's Runaway Railway, which is the one here in the thumbnail of this. That's the new ride they got coming, which is It's really some bullshit. I mean, it looks like a good ride, but it's really some bullshit. It especially if you're a fan of that new Chip and Dale movie. Because that new Chip and A Rabbit, feel free to jump on. We're talking Disney. Go in there by yourself without kids, why it's better. And I was talking about the newest ride is gonna be Mickey's Runaway Railway, which is like, okay, it's the new style of art. Which, if you saw that Chip and Dale movie, that's really an abomination. You know, you can't just haphazardly come up with new style of art that looks like a bootleg, and just expect people to eat it like breakfast sausage. It's, you know, it's an ugly style. It's just, you know, it's ugly, and it's like they were okay. So in the Chip and Dale's movie, they're just constantly making fun of ugly Sonic. But what about ugly Mickey? And Chip and Dale are in that new Mickey. Chip and Dale didn't retire after Rescue Rangers like they want you to believe. extraSanderson has been to Disney World like 30 times. What the? So he's a real. Now, have you been as an adult without kids? He's a real Disney adult, extraSanderson. And anyone can jump on the chat, whether you've been to Disneyland 30 times or 0 times. We're talking Disneyland for adults specifically. I've probably been about like probably about like 260, probably about 270 times. And that's in the last like 5 years since I started season passing. Before Cootie 19, my sister and I were planning to go to Disney World. See, Evil Knievel is gonna go. So yeah, it looks like there's more, you know, there's more of this than people acknowledge. Guess. Oh, here we go. extraSanderson. Add a stream. Mr. Sanderson.
Yo!
What's up, man? I was thinking about you because I was out running. I had a bunch of coffee, and I decided just to come on here and BS, and it made me think of like you. Like a less intelligent, marijuana-focused version of you.
What was that? Say that again?
I was like drinking a bunch of coffee. I was drinking a bunch of coffee and running around, and I was like, "Oh, I should do a video," and that made me think of you.
Dude, yeah, the coffee is great, dude. It's my last thing. It's my last vice. You know.
So you've been to Disney World 30 times?
Yeah, at least.
That's awesome. Now, have you ever been to Disneyland in California, or that's just not? That's
no, I haven't, and I've been to California a couple times, but.
Well, I mean, if you've been to Disney World. Yeah, I mean, if you've been to Disney World, it's not incredibly different. I went to Disney World once when I was like, I mean, I went like 67 times. No, I went like once, and I was like maybe like 12. But to me, the biggest difference was there's just so much fucking walking at the Florida one.
Oh yeah, and you have to take to Magic Kingdom. You have to actually take a ferry across like it's an island.
See, that's insane. So yeah, it's like. So, have you ever been to like Chinatown in San Francisco, like Grant Street?
Yeah, I was there once. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would say. Almost like Disneyland in California is almost like that. Like everything is just really like on top of each other, and there's things that you don't see because they're around a corner. Like it's so densely compacted with stuff. Yeah, it's like heavily. Disneyland California is really heavily just compacted with stuff because they had it in the 50s and they didn't know that they would expand it so much. But yeah, they opened up the ranch in the back for Star Wars Land, and that's its own thing now.
The Disney World, they bought swamp, so they got so much land because it was all swamp.
Right, and
so yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's huge. Like the monorail. I don't know. Is there a monorail in Disneyland that brings
you from park to park? There is, but it just takes you around, not as far. It's not a very long ride, and it's kind of fucked up because it takes you across downtown Anaheim. So like it takes you out of Disneyland and like out of the experience, and you kind of see like, oh yeah, like I'm in fucking LA. Like it's kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like it takes you, like you'll go behind, like you'll see where the employees are taking breaks, and you'll see like a bunch of weird shit that you wouldn't have seen, that you didn't like plan for.
I have some relatives that work at Disney World, so we go.
Oh yeah. My dad used to have homies that like worked there in the 90s, so that's how I got to go a lot.
Oh yeah. I got one year, we got the Keys Behind the Kingdom tour,
Oh,
So
that's crazy.
so it was like that you get like a person that goes around and tells you all the secrets about
That's
how like the
badass.
second
Yeah.
stories are not real and they're only like built half to scale, and like you can
Yeah.
stand here and you can see everything, but if you cross this line and all this
I've
weird stuff.
watched I've watched multiple versions of that on YouTube that people filmed and stuff. So like I've like pretended to have that experience several times. But
Yeah, it's about that. The only thing that you can't replicate is the tour guide bursting out into tears
right.
when talking about how great of a person Walt Disney was.
He was my savior.
Yeah, so that was something that I even felt a little bit, you know. I'm like, oh,
What
I'm a sensitive person, so I'm like, oh, I know this is a gotcha moment, but he was a great person, right?
I mean, I believe that the hating of Jews stuff is wildly untrue. Like it's heavily unfounded, and that like he
Yeah.
was really close to the Sherman brothers and like gave everyone their Jewish holidays without question and stuff. But since like Family Guy makes a joke of it, people just assume it's true nowadays.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a downtown Disney like section?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. So what it is you've
okay,
got Disneyland
yep,
that Walt built in the 50s, and then in
yep,
front of that was the parking lot. It was just a big parking lot, and
hmm
it was even more of like a real downtown back then. There was like all kinds of. I'm talking when I was a kid in the 90s. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
like in the 80s there was like all kinds of cheapo hotels and like the motels with the color TV signs, and like there was a place called like Disney View, Diznee View, and like Aladdin's, and like like these weird places. What happened was Disney eventually made so much fucking money that they bought every business surrounding it,
hmm
and then they built up a giant parking structure. And where their parking place was, that's how they built the California Adventure Park. So
okay, yep,
there's like a few football fields worth of space in between California Adventures and Disneyland. So they face each other because it used to be the parking lot. And in the in between, if you walk down, that's like a downtown Disney.
okay,
But it's like you got to go through. What's interesting is in that zone, they still have Anaheim police. It's not controlled by like the
oh
Disney
yeah,
security. Yeah, and the
uh-huh.
hotels and shit are there. So like I've seen people try to jack. Well, there was a guy. He did the receipt game where he tried to come in and say he bought some shit and get money for it.
Yeah,
And like
okay,
they were like, no, like fuck off. And like he started causing a scene, and I think he thought like it was gonna be like a Disneyland situation where they like settle him. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
the fucking Anaheim PD came out and like strong armed the shit out of the guy, and
Oh
I was like,
man,
oh
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They don't care. They don't care.
So yeah,
Disney's
like
like
you're
they
not
do
in.
one thing wrong. Disney does one thing wrong, and it's everywhere, right? So it's
Yeah, like it's very much you're not in Disneyland when you're in the
yeah.
downtown Disney. Like there's still a vibe that you're in like, weird LA.
So
I call everything in Southern California LA because I'm from Northern California.
oh,
But
gotcha. Yeah.
but yeah, it's like it's Anaheim. It's nicer than that, but it's there's like homeless people around out front, but they're all just like in their 20s and they're kind of Disney obsessed and they're kind of weird and like drugged out.
Yeah. So there was in Florida we had now it's called Downtown Disney. I think now it's even called Downtown Springs.
Yeah,
But
Disney Springs and that
Disney
stuff. I've heard
Springs,
of
yeah,
that.
yeah. Which is great. I mean, they've done a lot, but before it was that, it was Downtown Disney and they had the Virgin Records giant mega store, which is pretty awesome. But before it was
That's
that, it was
rad.
a place called Pleasure Island. I'm not even kidding you. And
Yeah.
that's probably when you went there. If you ever went there, that's probably what it was
Yeah, I
called.
remember hearing about it, but we didn't go there because I was a kid. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
it shuts down like at a certain time. It's like you have to be 21 or something. I can't remember
drinking
exactly,
and shit.
but it was it was interesting. Yeah, it's like okay, this is the old Disney now. Now we got the new Disney. It's Downtown Disney. I
Yeah.
remember going there and be like, oh, Downtown Disney. It's pretty neat. But the coolest thing they had was, oh man, I think it was called Disney Quest.
Yeah, like the
And it
video
was
game thing.
Yeah, and it was this giant building, and they had Dreamcasts in there,
That's
playing like
sick.
online. Well, it was like I don't know if it was Dreamcast or if it was just like the Naomi's, but they had like these crazy things, and it was like 5 levels. So you had to like do all these gaming things to get up a level, and they had like mechanical games and video games and stuff, and it was just like the most insane thing I remember doing that and being like,
Yeah,
holy crap. And it
they
was like good games too. It was like actual Dreamcast games. I remember seeing some and being like, dude, nice.
They didn't have any of that stuff till later, when they built Downtown Disney. But now what they have is like it's an AR experience for Star Wars, and you
Oh
pay like
yeah,
$30. Yeah, and it's like an AR. You have a gun. I didn't do it, but I saw that there.
yeah. My
It's not
uncle,
called
he
Disney
said
Quest
he did it.
anymore. Hmm.
Yeah, my uncle told me he did it, and it was pretty cool.
Now, have you ever been to Disneyland just as an adult without any kids, full grown adult? Disney
Oh yeah,
World, I
like
mean.
all the time. I
And
go like every
it's
year.
advantageous, is it not? It's quite more fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's I like going to the downtown Disney. I like going to Animal Kingdom. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, Animal Kingdom, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? I like to take that safari ride, look at a giraffe or something.
Yeah.
Monkeys
They don't
come
have
around.
that. Yeah, we don't have that. There'd probably be a lot of laws about dealing with the animals. I know SeaWorld is just trying to
Yeah.
get away from that in San Diego too.
And you guys have the San Diego Zoo, so you don't need that.
Yeah,
Like you
San
have the
Diego
greatest
Zoo.
zoo in the US.
San Diego Zoo is literally Jurassic Park with animals. Like those buildings in Jurassic Park are the fucking San Diego Zoo buildings, and like those towers and shit and those fences. It's wild. Well, the thing that I think differentiate Florida and California Disney is that Florida was really built by Walt's brother, but so was California. Like, okay, so like from what I understand, Walt's brother was the money man, and like Walt was the idea man, and like Walt's brother Roy, he ran the hotels, so he was like a hotel mogul. So yeah, when they built up Florida, they like built it around these hotels, and like that's how the cruise line came about and all this Disney travel shit. Like,
Yeah, the hotels are big, and I know in that Keys to the Kingdom tour, they were talking about, it was like, I can't remember if they said brother or something, but I remember it was after they built it, Walt Disney came, and then he ran like QC on the whole thing. So he was like, I don't know, they tell
like
stories, but they're like,
Walt,
oh, they had like garbage wrappers and they didn't have any garbages there, so they could see when people started littering and like, okay, these are the spots to put garbage cans, or something. I'm just like,
like Walt died before they got Florida off the ground. In like the 60s. Walt died right around when they were finishing up. Like people say he died finishing Pirates of the Caribbean in California. He was like a workaholic and he smoked himself out, so he had like one lung. And they were like, you need to stop working. But he's like, I gotta get like the Pirates of the Caribbean lighting fucking perfect or whatever.
Oh,
and like
amazing.
I mean, that's the goat. Like I would say, like,
I love animatronics. You give me animatronics at anything, and it's like I love it.
Like I would say the Indiana Jones ride rivals it, but it's not. It doesn't have as many animatronics. It's not quite as good. It doesn't have as many scenes. It's not quite as good. Okay. But the Indiana Jones ride is like the modern version of it, and I hear the Avatar ride in Florida is supposed to be fucking good, but I don't know.
I've never been to Is that at Universal?
No, Disney bought Avatar. And it's like a weird story.
I'm thinking Airbender. Sorry.
No, fucking blue, fucking Mike. What's the guy's name? James Cameron. Like, I believe James Cameron told them he was gonna make part 2 and 3, and they were gonna get exclusive rights to it, and that didn't fucking happen. And I think it's what happened. And so they're just like, fuck it. So that's in Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
And then the rumor is they're building that same ride system to the Avengers ride in California. So like they have all these Marvel rights in California that they're not allowed to exercise in Florida because Universal bought them back in the comic days.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
interesting. I'll say the other one thing about Disney World that I lament. So that you got Epcot there, right? You got the big old orb
ball.
Over there used to be a place called Club Cool. It had the Coca-Cola polar bear on it.
Yeah.
And it had sodas from all around the world, and it was free. So you would go there and you'd bring in a big water bottle, you buy some whatever you could bring in.
You fill it up.
There and you just fill it up. But so you just max it out. But they had some interesting flavors. Like they had some Japanese flavors that were like very bitter and like stuff. They just had all these the best one was like, I want to say from Brazil, and it was like an orange, not orange, like a nectarine type one. Oh, it was so good. Yeah.
Sometimes we get that Mexican apple one here in California, but it's rare. It's like Coca-Cola makes this apple soda.
Oh, interesting.
I'm sure Evel Knievel knows what it's called. It's called like manzana or something like that, but
Yeah, I had no idea. But yeah,
They
I
have,
drove
yeah,
New
the
York.
regional sodas. Sometimes the Mexican regional sodas sneak into California.
Yeah.
They were talking about Fanta on Geek Getaway last week and how it was Nazi.
What?
It was like in World War II, there were Coca-Cola bottling plants in Germany, and then
Yeah.
like they got cut off. They got cut off during the Second World War. So they started just being like, fuck, we don't have the ingredients. So they started making this garbage soda out of like apple cores and like fucking cheese curds and shit, like whatever they had. And like that was Fanta. And then like after the war, Coca-Cola, they were like, we're not making any money. I think Coca-Cola like reabsorbed them. And like
Oh, I
that's
see.
Fanta.
Oh man,
It's very
I'm just
stupid.
happy that I got to get Pepsi Blue again while I was alive because there's a lot of Coke, like new Coke came back. You remember when new Coke came back, like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago for Stranger Things? It did not
Yeah.
taste. I had it with my grandma, and she's like, "This is not what new Coke used to taste like, whatnot." And there's some other ones that have come back that I've tried. I can't. Oh, Surge. Surge
It
came back. It
probably,
tastes
yeah.
absolutely nothing like Surge used to. But
They don't have the same sweeteners, I think, or the
yeah,
sweeteners formulas have changed, I
but
believe.
Pepsi Blue was identical to when I used to drink it younger, and it
I
came back for like maybe what a summer, and I like just drank.
You know
And
what
I don't
I
really drink
heard?
soda, but I drank so much of that.
I drink a lot of soda. You know what's weird? People say, like with the new Coke, okay, people say that before the new Coke, and tell me if you've heard this,
Okay.
there was Coca-Cola and Diet Coca-Cola, okay? And then they were like, fuck that. There's new Coke and Diet New Coke. And then people were like, no, 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 new Coke's awful. So they went back to Coca-Cola Classic, but Diet Coke is still Diet New Coke. And that's why it says Coke on the can and it has the new Coke logo basically. They
I
never
haven't
went
heard
back to the
that. I'll
old.
have to ask my grandma because she drinks so much Coke.
Like I'm sure it's not the same formula as it was, but like
Yeah.
the flavoring, the overall flavoring, like it's still imitation Pepsi. Like Diet Coke is still imitation Pepsi, Diet
My
Pepsi.
my grandma's been drinking Coke for so long. She's like, this was a medicine. Like we drank this for
Yeah.
medicinal purposes back in the day. I'm like, no, you didn't.
My grandpa was in World War II. He was like he was real old. My mom's parents were old when they had her, and like he used to drink it out of the glass bottles and buy all the glass bottles for us and be like, this is the only way to drink it. Like it tastes like shit any other way. Like you have to have it in glass, like a
Yeah.
little small ass glass bottle.
My grandma went from Coke to Coke Life because I had a similar taste to the like the Mexican Coke. And
Yeah,
drinking that forever because
the
it was
green Coke.
healthy. Yeah, and she couldn't. Yeah, the green stuff, which it was good. I used to get that stuff too every once in a
Is
while.
that
With her.
stevia? Stevia? I like
Yeah,
stevia
it was
sodas.
stevia, which is the
I like
only
that.
sweetener that doesn't. Oh man, what did he say? I just got a physical. It's the only sweetener that doesn't produce insulin or something. I don't know. Something
Okay,
that,
yeah, I like that shit. I like it. I put fucking ice in it and I just drink it like,
yeah.
like it's like
Life
drinking
go
a
on.
Slurpee. It's like too sweet, but it's
Yeah.
good.
But Coke Life went out, so my grandma got like a pallet of stuff.
Yeah, what the fuck?
She went through with that and then went back to just original Coke.
She started doing lines.
Yeah. Well, no, not quite.
I remember when I went to Disney
The ice
Florida.
cubes just kept getting stuck in her nose. So
I remember when I went to Disneyland Florida, like, or I call it that. It's not called that. It's called Disney World.
yeah, I
But
get
I'm,
confused too.
but like, I'm a California centrist. So like, when I went to your fake ass Disneyland in Florida that Walt had nothing to do with,
I know.
it was so goddamn hot. It was so damn hot, and like it's humid, but we don't have humidity in California, so I have like no acclimation to like this feeling.
Yeah,
So,
Florida humid's its own beast too.
my body's just like fucking sweating. So I'm buying sodas because I'm 12 and I don't realize soda makes you more dehydrated.
Yeah,
So I'm buying Coca-Cola products, Sprites and Cokes over and over again to get the little amount of water in them. And they're like, I remember back then even it's like 2000 something, or it's 99, 2000 maybe. And I'm paying like $4.50 for like a regular bottle of Coke, for a bottle of fucking Sprite, right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, it's just like that when you go places, like Packer games. I go to Packer game. You just got to accept that you're gonna.
Well, yeah,
I'm gonna spend $10 on a brat, and I'm just gonna be okay with it. Like you have to go into the stadium thinking that, otherwise.
Yeah, I live in Bay Area and work in San Francisco, so like every fucking Coke I buy is $4.50 now. But like,
Well,
like
yeah,
I'm in a tourist,
you've
like it's
already
just,
accepted it. Yeah, I'm appreciative
yeah,
of that
I'm just
right
I like work in a fucking 49 square mile tourist zone, so
now.
like everything is just,
Yeah.
but
I was such a cheapskate though for my whole life, like every single thing. Now I'm not really, but I would go to like, get the deal, the family deal or whatnot at Disney World, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm buying like what is the turkey leg was like the best price for the amount of stuff you got for it. So I get
yeah,
that, and then I would
oh
like,
man,
and then like that's all I would eat. I would like eat a big meal before it, and I like try not to buy anything, and then I'd hit up like every time you go, you got to stop at Epcot because you got to hit up Club Cool for the soda. It's free
dude.
soda. Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story about the turkey leg? Like I work with a lot of people because it's San Francisco, so I work with people from like Hong Kong and
Yeah, yeah.
in Japan and stuff. And so like my friend, he grew up in Japan, but he's originally from Hong Kong, and he went back there, and he's like, yeah, I went to Tokyo Disney for the first time. I took my kid. He's like, for me, it's actually cheaper because like if you do the math, blah blah blah, the park only costs $40 to get in, and like all this stuff. The economy was down in Japan, so he was
Uh-huh.
over there, and he knows how to get around, and like he was like, I got the turkey leg, and the picture of the turkey leg looks the same, and the price of the turkey leg is the same, but you're in Japan, and they hand you the turkey leg, and they're handing you a fucking KFC drumstick size like turkey leg,
Oh my
and
god.
everyone's just bowing thank you like it's no big deal. They just accept it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they just, oh yeah, here we go. I got my turkey leg. Like they just, he said, I was like, what's the biggest fucking difference over there than here? He's like, okay, over there, people will wait in line for everything and never peep. Like sometimes lines for the shopping will be longer than lines for the fucking rides, and no one will
Oh,
get upset. No one will say, "Can you open another register?" No one will leave the line. Like everyone's just so orderly that
yeah.
they just like keep the machine going, and people are just like, yeah, I'm gonna wait in this 45-minute line to buy my collector's edition once in a lifetime Mickey shoes that are $600, and like
Yeah, that's true.
they
I don't
don't
know,
put like
maybe
here. Like they have that shit in LA, but it's LA people like push their way up to the fucking front,
yeah.
like, hi, yo, I'm buying these shoes. You think someone gonna help me and shit? Like,
Yeah, the fast passes for a while there were the greatest thing. Like when the fast passes were first out, it was like, all right, you go to the machine, you get your fast pass for your time or
right.
whatnot. Now it's like you have the app, so you have to like
People were
time things out and sign it up, and it's not quite as good. Like with the fast passes before, they didn't have a limit, so you could just like get fast passes for Space Mountain or whatever, just as many as you wanted. And
there,
like just be riding it.
there were fucking people here that were scalping them. Like
Yeah, I
they
can
were
see
going
that.
on like
I can
instant
see that.
messenger on their phone in the early 2000s, like, hey, like hit me up at $5 for this, and like
Oh, I don't see why not.
that's why they had to stop printing them. I think that's what happened, really.
Oh my gosh. That's actually really funny. Yeah, I don't know. It was like the fast passes were just like, I mean, I think they have kiosks now everywhere too, and you have the app on your phone that you can get them. But it's
They
now
had
it's not that.
to,
Sometimes it's been like a less wait to not do the fast pass. I've gone, and it's just like
right.
people are waiting in the fast pass side, and it's like, oh, I'm
What
up.
I remember in Florida, was the line thing was just real different. Like, because in Florida, what I remember experiencing, and I went there in the summer, but I remember you would get in, you would go like, okay, there's nobody in this line. Then all of a sudden, like a Brazilian group of like 60 fucking college kids would get in front of you. Or like a Chinese group of like 35 fucking adults like would just get in front of you, and you'd be like, oh, well, there's
Yeah,
like another 40 minutes of line that like
yeah.
they'll just like all of a sudden just swarmed by huge groups, which
Mhm.
that just doesn't really happen in California. They're just, the groups aren't quite so big, and they don't stick
Yeah,
together as much, I think,
I can see
because the
that.
place is so crowded. The place is so kind of crowded and compact that like sticking in a group isn't as necessary or like
Yeah.
feasible. The lines are a lot smaller and they just move through them faster. But
Yeah, the one thing I mean, it's probably the same in Disneyland, but as far as just the theme parks go, the waiting, the lines Like Tower of Terror's waiting is like pretty awesome actually. You know, it's like yeah, you got that outside section, but then you start going in
Yeah,
and it's like all like hallways
a
dripping with slime
hotel.
and pipes going through, you know, and you're in the back room and then
Yeah. Oh,
up.
so you guys have a lot more of that because they built it like with that in mind. But
Yeah,
like it was still real carnival when Walt built the original one. So like a lot of the lines are real shitty in California,
yeah.
because they weren't built that way. But as it went on, like the Roger Rabbit ride, which they built in the '90s, and some of the later ones do have really cool lines. One of the funny things is a good reason to go as an adult. When I brought my 4-year-old onto the Roger Rabbit line, the line was so spooky. She was just like, "Nah, I ain't doing this ride," because the line was so intense. It really made you
Yeah.
feel like you were in, and it was like a nighttime noir. Like they were trying to, get the Disney adults more into it, and not acknowledging the children. So there's positives and minuses, which was cool because then I was like, told my wife like, okay, just take her and go wait for me. I said, go wait, fuck you, go wait for me. And I went on the ride by myself.
There you go.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
The one thing I remember about waiting in lines was, well, sometimes we were there when we had the Razor phones, right? And you could just send things to Bluetooth to everyone and be like, we used to do it at Packer games, we used to do it at Disney World. You just be waiting in line and you just send a picture of a person standing in line to like Bluetooth it to like another phone. And if they accept it and you like hope it's them, right? They're like, oh no, someone sent me a picture of myself, you know? So we used to do that all the time, just constantly. Like Packer games, we do that too. We take pictures of someone and then like, someone's got their Bluetooth, maybe they'll accept it. You can do it now with
yeah.
airdropping, but most people have that turned on to like whatever. But I do that
Yeah.
sometimes still as like a callback on airdrop when I'm in crowded places. I just try to airdrop random pictures of myself to people.
Oh, Rabbit's here. Sorry, Rabbit. Add a stream. I didn't see you there, sir.
It's okay, dude. I had to go eat some food really quickly.
I only got like 20 more minutes, and then got to go back to work. But it's nice.
Okay, extraSanderson. You've been to Florida. You've been to Disney like 30 times. You live in Florida or something?
I live in Wisconsin.
Oh, you do?
I drive.
You drive around a lot, huh?
Well, the Wisconsin, there's two. There's the cool Wisconsinites that are the snowbirds. They go to Florida, and then the other half go to Arizona. So I know.
Oh,
going to. But yeah, I got family in Florida, so.
Rabbit, experiences with Disney parks. You ever been there?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been to Florida like once with my family a long time ago in Florida, but that was a long time ago. The rides I've been on in Florida was like I forget what Florida back then. It had like a train. Did they still have that train nowadays?
Yeah. They got that mini train. Yeah.
Well, there's two trains because there's a train that loops the park, and then there's a roller coaster train.
Yeah, there is. I remember that. Yeah, I've also been on the
and there's monorail.
It's been a while since I've been there. Honestly, I forget most of it. Like there was like a.
Did you go on Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, I didn't go to that one. I don't think the movie was around when that was a thing.
No, that was since they started it. But
oh really?
It's easy to miss. It's easy to miss.
Yeah. And also Disney World. I'm not sure if California is structured the same way, but Disney World's got actually 4 different separate parks that monorail goes through. So, and like a lot of times people just buy passes for one instead of all.
Yeah. You don't go to all the things. That's in California. It's the 2. It's California Adventures and Disneyland.
What makes California different from Florida when it comes to Disneyland?
Oh, it's so they built it in the 50s, and it's really compact. Like they didn't plan for it to be so big, so it's like really compact. It was sort of designed for less people to be there. It's in like a downtown part of. It's like in a city. It's not like in the middle of nowhere. Like in Florida, it's like in Anaheim, which is like a major city, and so there's like a mall down the street that they don't own. There's just a bunch of shit that they don't own surrounding it. But it's Magic Kingdom in Disneyland is quite similar. I mean, Magic Kingdom in Florida, the island, is quite similar to Disneyland, and some things are really close, but they're themed differently. Some of the properties like Marvel and stuff, there's like legal limitations. Like they don't have the rights to use them quite as much in Florida because Universal has some of that.
Well, okay, was Florida or was it California originally came up with Disneyland?
Disneyland, because Walt Disney. So Disneyland started with basically you have Walt
No,
Disney is in California doing tours like of
okay,
his studio,
okay.
neat little tiny tours.
California.
And
Okay.
so it started in California. But
That's
see,
cool.
basically it's a ripoff. Disneyland was a ripoff of you have Knott's Berry Farm and Universal Studios, which are two parks that existed before Disneyland. And Disneyland looked at them and built one in between them that's very similar. Walt Disney was like, I want to combine these two ideas. I want to combine Knott's Berry Farm, which was a chicken restaurant. It was a different Walt. That was Walter Knott. Now, Walter Knott owned a chicken restaurant and a farm, and he invented boysenberries. And he created Knott's Berry Farm, which is still there to this day, but it's owned by different people now. And then Universal Studios, that's the different brothers. That's the Warner Brothers, not the. And then you have the Disney Brothers. And so, like, Disney is this combination of those two places. I mean, not the Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers studio was doing tours, and Universal Studios was doing tours. And Universal Studio tours started, like, building these trams and big shit like that. And so, Walt was, like, a fucking train enthusiast. So, it wasn't really built by Disney either. So, Disneyland was built for a TV show. Basically, there was a TV show on NBC back then, and so Walt was like, yo, I want to build this thing. It's going to be kind of like Universal Studios and Warner Brothers Studios, and it's going to be kind of like Knott's Berry Farm, but we'll build it around a TV show, and I'll build everything inside there so it looks really, really good on camera. Like, the castle will look kind of shitty, but like on camera, when we shoot it from the ground, it's going to look like a real fucking castle because I'm building it in like forced perspective scales and shit like that. And the same thing with like the downtowns and stuff. So it was built for that show, and there's still episodes of that show on YouTube and shit. And it's just this like show, they just kept making it. And so that was the original. And then Walt was like, it was so successful that he was like, I'm gonna build another one in Florida, but I'm gonna own all the land. And like he was gonna do it completely differently. Like, he was gonna build like a Mary Poppins ride. He was gonna build all different shit. But what happened was, as they were building it, he got real fucking sick and died because he was like addicted to smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
So he died, and his brother, who was actually super involved because it was Disney Brothers when they started the company. His brother built Florida. But his brother was like, I don't have a good enough imagination as Walt, so we'll just copy all the rides he has. And then when his brother died, his brother's son was like, I'm gonna get new people to make up new shit. And that's what most of Florida is made up of, new shit. But there's some remaining things that they copied from California.
I know exactly what Evil is talking about here. Dude, Space Mountain is terrifying because the lights go dark, and before you start, you see all these beams hanging around everywhere. So you're just like flying through the dark, and you're like, dude, one of these, I'm just gonna take my head off. Like, every time I go, that's still exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like,
the head chopper.
My goodness. Yeah, exactly. It's so terrifying. That's, oh man.
They rethemed Space Mountain in California to a Star Wars thing, but I didn't get a chance to go in that version. But because the time I went back, they rethemed it back to normal. But that's a killer.
So, extraSanderson, which one do you like better, the one in Florida or the one in California?
Oh, I've actually never been to the one in California.
Oh.
I've been to the one in Florida many, many times. I've been to California twice. Wait, maybe more. No, I've been there 3 times, but I've never been to the Disneyland there.
And I think that's why building the California Adventure Park was so important to them, so they could bring in people who from Florida needed to see something new. So they built this California themed park sort of around it with like a fake boardwalk and all this California stuff. So I've been to both, but I've only been to Disney World in Florida once when I was 12. I would say I prefer California because there's just more stuff for less money. The stuff in Florida is really spread out, so there's technically less of it. And there's 4 gates, so there's like, you need 4 different tickets or like an extra expensive ticket to go to all of them. And it's just wildly spread out. It takes you so long, you don't get to do as much. While like in California, when you get off Pirates of the Caribbean, as soon as you get off, you are now at the entrance to the haunted house. As soon as you get off that, you are now at the entrance to Splash Mountain. As soon as you get off that, you are now at the entrance to Winnie the Pooh. Like, they just are all backboned on each other. So
If you're not a fan of humidity, too, go to the California.
Yeah, that's the
I
other
am
thing.
a huge fan of humidity. I mean, I'm from the swamps here in Wisconsin.
It's hot enough. It's hot enough in Anaheim to
Yeah.
fucking like. Good lord.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen alligators before?
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
wondering because you live in the swamps. I'm wondering if you've seen alligators.
I've seen alligators in Florida. In Wisconsin, no, we don't. It's a different kind of swamp. It's more
Okay, I
cat
was wondering.
bears.
Okay.
But the gators, we were in the Everglades there, and we did a canoe trip, and it's like you just see giant gators all of a sudden come up and go down, and actually against their better judgment, because you got to, right? We took a rope swing that was like somewhere out in there, and rope swung into the murky waters, because like, come on, you gotta, right? And then we were going a little more, see a little more gators, but
I think one time we almost saw an alligator in Florida. I think it was like in Flippy Creek.
Oh
It was
yeah,
a long time ago though.
We got a lot of gators there, and a lot of them are small.
In Florida, there's like an actual gator park or like a gator land.
Oh yeah, there is.
I haven't been there.
I think I've actually been there before. I think
that'd be rad. We spent a lot of time at Kennedy Space Center because this was like my dad that took us, but
oh yeah,
I didn't get to do everything at Disney World at all. We just got to spend a little bit of time there, but
my cousins that live there say that I can't remember. They'll be watching TV, and then all of a sudden there'll be an alert that comes on and says, "Look out your window! There's a SpaceX launch." So they can go look. Everyone goes and looks out their window and sees there's a NASA launch or a SpaceX launch. I'm like, oh,
that's pretty cool.
That's kind of cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, 1 second. I'm gonna get a water. I'm getting my Esca. Hold on.
The Esca. Oh man, you need that reverse osmosis. No, I'm just kidding.
So, how are the swamps in Wisconsin? Are they pretty good?
Yeah, the swamps are like Wisconsin, since we have the winter, right? So we got like a lot of bogs too, and the swamps are more like when it's raining, it gets real swampy and near the Great Lakes and stuff, and so you get bogs. And bogs, because they like float around. Like there are some bogs like in Chippewa Falls that have a tree. There's like one I know that has like a couple trees on it, and they just like float around, so people canoe to them, and you can sit on this like floating bog and like fish and stuff.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, so
and you don't
have to. You only just have to worry about muskies. No gators or anything. And muskies, that they don't do anything. They're just really big fish. They're not going to bite you.
Oh wow.
In Disney Florida, they can just build whatever the fuck they want because it's swampland. So like people don't see it that aren't going there to see it.
Yeah.
So, it's just the fucking middle of nowhere. Like you're talking, it's just swamps and shit. But at Disney California, they had the Tower of Terror, and it was like street facing. So like people that didn't know any better thought it was just a super dilapidated, fucked up building. And so like that's well, they just like people that were like, oh, that's Disneyland, like didn't have tickets and were like maybe especially from other countries or like, not educated on it. They drive by like, oh, that's Disneyland. Like, why would I want to go there? Like, yeah. And so like eventually that's why they changed it to the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy thing, which is now it's just a giant spaceship that you see like from the street.
Oh man, there was one year at Disney World where what was it? Was it called Mission to Mars or something? It was a simulation ride, right?
You don't have that one, yeah.
And there was a kid who died on it because he had a seizure from it. So that ride was terrifying because of course like we're gonna ride on it now, right? So we're waiting in line. And they have people. They have people, they looked apart too, kind of in like spacesuits, I remember. And they were like asking, like you don't have to ride this. Are you sure you want to? So like every 5 minutes, and then they have this announcement going, Did
you have to sign something?
No, you didn't have to sign anything, but I can't remember it wasn't like you can defect, but it was like something like, it's like, oh, you don't have to do this. But in my brain, it's like, oh, you think that I'm a baby and I can't handle this, huh? And then the ride ended up just giving me a massive headache and it wasn't that great. Like most of those.
King, I'd let you on, but I have to leave. I have to go back to work in like 5 minutes. So I could let you on, but you should probably start your own stream after this with these guys, maybe. What are you guys doing? But yeah, we don't have that ride extra. I think that's why they didn't build it.
I think that might be why too, because I think it was right when it came out, and then some poor kid had a or something on it.
There's been a lot of fucking people that died in California Disney because it goes back to the 50s. So like they didn't give a shit. Like there's people that got squished between walls and like all kinds of weird shit. And there's
really.
Yeah, there's people that tried to stay overnight and drowned in the water, and there's like all kinds of fucked up people that stood up on the ride. They didn't have seatbelts on them. All kinds of shit.
That almost sounds like that one water park where people literally died in that place.
Oh, it's not as bad as Action Park, but in Action Park was like, the problem with Action Park was like in New Jersey, I believe this is my conjecture, that in New Jersey, because of the Jersey Shore being run by the mafia, there was no restrictions on ride safety.
Yeah, it was like very lax, and they didn't care too much.
That's why, because it was connected to the state being paid off by the mafia to run Jersey Shore however they wanted. But that didn't really, wasn't really a thing in California. In fact, I think Walt Disney and Walter Knott really pushed the rest of the country into more safety shit. A lot of the people that died at Disneyland were staff. So, you know, it's. I think they were embarrassed by it. Well, I think places like Action Park, it just got swept under the rug because they weren't as big of companies, you know.
I bet if Disney was still alive, he would not like what's going on in Disney right now.
No, but would anybody who was like, you know, that age, like Walt Disney was in World War One. You know what I mean? Like Walt Disney was a 16-year-old kid who signed up for World War One and saw action and did like the nursing stuff and saw bodies and stuff. Like world was different. Like, and then they lived through World War II and they wanted to build this place of you know, an ideal setting that they remembered from their childhood. And it's a different world. I mean, if you look into Disney, a lot of the shit people say nowadays is kind of bullshit. Like they say he's anti-Semitic or they say he's racist and shit. But if you really look into it, like that's not the case. There are just constantly people who are like, no, he like gave me like raises on my Jewish holidays, and like he was best friends with the Sherman brothers and like went to their kids like bar mitzvahs, and like there's just like or like when they had Native Americans in Disneyland, he like went out and found real tribal chiefs and was like, do you have a cultural display? And like used a different one every month and like paid them and shit. Like, so there's weird shit where he was like wildly progressive, but yeah, he wasn't trying to sucker all the money out of them. Now, but the other thing is his brother ran a lot of the business. His brother was really making a lot of the decisions because his brother was like a little bit wiser and smarter, and his brother was the one running the hotels. And now the hotels is bigger than the parks and the cruise line. So
wait, real quick, before you go, I have to ask.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been to Disney World in, I think, 2 years now. But
yeah,
or maybe one.
I haven't been for 1 year now.
Still a thing? Because it wasn't there a whole thing where they took out all this thing and they had to cancel the ride and all that.
So okay, so Splash Mountain was based on a old cartoon that some people say is racist. I don't really think it's racist, but by today's standards, yeah, it is. So
the Zippity Doo-Dah one.
But it was racist when they built the fucking ride in like the early 90s, right? It was like the late 80s, early 90s when I was a kid. They built it, so it was already racist.
Why was it racist?
So Song of the South. So they have said
Song of the South. Yeah.
So they have said we are replacing this with the Princess and the Frog. Last time I went there was a year ago, and it wasn't replaced. But the ride was looking janky. Like the ride was looking like they weren't upkeeping it. So I think they're gonna give it a little bit of time to fall into some disrepair before they put the new coat on it. Basically saying like, because Disneyland rides are not like other parks. Other parks just let them fall to disrepair and then replace it. At Disneyland, they just keep updating it, fixing it, repainting it, adding effects, adding new technology. It just kind of never stops. But on Splash Mountain, they kind of let it go to jank. Like it's not quite as, the animals aren't as fluffy. Like the things are not working quite as right. The animatronics are not moving. So that's basically what's happening. I believe they're replacing with. I think Princess and the Frog would be good for it. Because they have that the guy for villain, like he's a voodoo priest and a witch doctor type guy, and I think they're going to use the projection and make a lot of cool stuff with that. Of course, like Splash Mountain Original is one of my favorite rides. Like,
yeah, it's a good one.
It's amazing because you can grow out of your fear for a Disney ride. Like you can grow out of your fear for Space Mountain by just going on it enough times, or you can grow out of your fear for Indiana Jones or whatever by going on it enough times. But with Splash Mountain, you're constantly afraid of getting wet, especially if you go at night. So like your brain's still triggering like fear response over and over again because you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get all wet. And it's like, especially if you go on late at night, and that really puts the excitement up on a higher level for me. So
do you
that mixed with like
Pirates of the Caribbean over there?
You don't get quite as wet.
Yeah,
you just get sprinkled on. Yeah, in Splash Mountain you can get quite wet. And
I think I did ride that one actually last time. Now I think that's why I was asking, because I'm like, I remember them saying they were gonna shut it down or something, but I don't know if they did.
The absolute juxtaposition of how scared you feel while you're on Splash Mountain with how jolly all the fucking music and animatronics are. You know, being a guy that did LSD and stuff like that, like that's that feeling when you're a kid, you know, like having access to that feeling when you're a kid is so insane. I love that ride.
It was a classic ride. I don't know.
It's
got animatronics. That's like number one on my list. Like have
animatronics. It's a heavy ripoff of a ride at Knott's Berry Farm. There's a loggers ride at Knott's Berry Farm with the animatronics, and we went to Knott's when I was a kid a bunch, and I'd like to start going back. But yeah.
Tell me, how many times have you been to Disney World?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I've just been one time to World, but I've been to Land. Like, do you want to know the kayfabe answer for Land or the real answer for Disneyland?
The real answer.
Probably like extraSanderson says. I've been 20 or 30 times. Like as an adult, I've only been twice. I mean, without kids. So I went a lot when I was a kid, probably most of the times because my dad used to get hookups. But then I went when I was 16 years old. I was dating a girl, and we got got a place to friends to stay down there, and like we drove down there and went. And then when I was like 25, I think I went with a girl. And then when I was like 30, I went with a girl. And that's who I married. And then I've gone back twice with my kids with her.
Nice. Wow. Well, on that, I actually have to get going, but thank you very much.
Yeah, we're all going to go.
Nice talking with you, Rabbit Dude. And everyone in the chat, have a wonderful day.
Peace out, guys. And
guys.
Peace, love, and Disney grease.
Oh, yeah. Turkey leg grease.
Turkey leg grease and roller coaster wheel grease. We out this bitch.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. See y'all.
Yep.